Welcome to my world-building project. In our last episode we discussed the fundamentals of magic, how it begins life as potential and then collapses into different arcs, each arc carrying a specific fundamental behavior. It is these arcs that reality's rules are written upon. In this episode we shall look at each of the 7 arcs of magic and how exactly each of them differ. Episode 2. The Arcs of Magic. As I hope you can see, magic is not some kind of arcane technique or occult art form. Magic is the fabric of our reality, and it describes the world around us and everything within it. Magic is a mix of hidden energies, forever swirling around us, but what are these energies? You have already met one of them, Arykos, the force that allows interactions, but there are other arcs, carrying different but no less important properties of their own. Including a more in-depth description of Arykos, the 7 arcs of magic are listed thus. Quoros. Quoros is the arc of equilibrium. Quoros is the great distributor of magic, spreading energy out down to the lowest common denominator. It seeks stasis across the cosmos. Its cold and remorseless hand falls upon all things. Its enervating touch slowly and irrevocably leaches all constructs of energy. It is the manifestation of order, eternally attempting to bring reality into a state of perfect stillness, ultimate oneness. Quoros takes the chaotic energies of the universe and calms them, crafting them into ever less energetic forms, taming the wild creativeness of reality back into the quiet consistency of random noise. Quoros tends towards stability, it favors the easiest distribution of energy, and its influence may be subtle, but it is ever present. If Quoros ruled our reality, then all would be truly silent, an infinite, unchanging landscape of perfect calm. There would be little exchange of energy, no sound, no movement. The matter of reality would be an equally distributed frozen noise. Time would cease to have relevance in this endlessly still world. A system under the influence of Quoros will most likely remain static, with a low chance of anything occurring within it. We find that all systems will naturally migrate towards this state given enough time. This is the slow but pervasive force of Quoros, always at work. Rin. As powerful as Quoros is, it is continually at war with another of the arcs of magic. It is a foe of equal power and a battle that will continue eternally. For wherever Quoros lays its calming hand, there can be found tiny fluctuations of uncertainty, pushing back against the slow, steady force of equilibrium. This constant fluctuation throughout reality is the work of the 2nd arc of magic, Rin, the great creator and destroyer, the arbiter of change in our reality. Rin is the antithesis of Quoros in almost every way. It drives magic towards a high-energy state where the percentage chance of an occurrence is much higher. It prefers to act instantly and furiously, often quickly burning itself out in great acts of creation and destruction. For these acts lie on 2 sides of the same coin. There cannot be one without the other. Rin is without any reason, completely unpredictable, purely random. It is chaos that drives this arc. This chaos is not malicious, just as the arc of Quoros, of order, is not malicious. They are simply benign forces of reality, possible ways in which magic can behave. Saying that, if we imagine a reality dominated by the arc of Rin, we find ourselves in quite the hellish environment. This reality would be an ever-twisting, ever-changing, endless nightmare of continual shifting madness, where all would be transient, forms suddenly gaining shape and life only to fall instantly back down into the endlessly reforming soup of reality. Arykos. Arykos is the arc of communication and causality, the great purveyor of energy. Arykos is the binding force that saturates reality. It allows values to be communicated. It governs the trading of information, the flow of energy between points. When 2 such points communicate, they share information, and it is Arykos that governs and regulates this communication. Values are created and given context and gain significance. Actions can affect their companions, which in turn respond, passing information back, as well as affecting their own companions, passing yet more information back and forth in an infinitely complex sea of communication. Even a seemingly insignificant occurrence can gain momentum through Arykos. Aberrations communicate with their neighbors and possibilities align favorably. This stimulates yet more confirmation, and an energy flow is created. These flows can then interact constructively with other flows, and eventually cascade into powerful probability waves. Arykos allows the forces of our reality to interact with each other. It is the great flow that runs through all things. It is the billowing wind, the strike of lightning. Arykos is the arc that binds creation together and gives it significance. tying together the other forces in an ever-flowing web of exchanging information and energy. Ashun. With all the information of Arykos zipping around reality, we can see another process at work, a force of conservation enacting upon the great flow. Information is communicated, energy is transferred, but nothing is ever lost, only exchanged. Furthermore, these exchanges can be reversed, effect can be followed to its cause, information always leaves a trail. This is the fourth arc of magic playing its role, Ashun, the arc of memory. Ashun is a shadow that follows in the wake of creation. Each occurrence affects its surroundings, and in doing so, information is passed outwards. This exchange is impossible without irrevocably changing both the source and the destination. Ashun is the action that locks these changes into reality as information. It is the great memory store of the cosmos. The flow of energy can always be followed backwards to its source using Ashun. This is a principle that many struggle with regarding Ashun because it seems to work in reverse to how we usually think. Ashun unfurls backwards from each present moment. Effect is preceded by cause, locked into memory as information, and thus the past is created, for it is only within memory that the past exists. This constant creation of the past gives us the illusion that we are traveling forwards through what we perceive as time. This is all a result of the arc of Ashun, documenting each passing occurrence and consequence throughout reality. Sometimes the information stored by Ashun can be difficult to find, for Ashun is mysterious by nature and likes to hide away its information amongst the detritus of infinity, and infinity ever throws a cloud of doubt over any potential absolute. But if you are willing to look hard enough, then the information is always there to find, stored away in the grand cosmic memory of Ashun. Korii. If you take any system with a random element and watch this system play out over time, you will find a strange thing begin to happen. From out of the infinite chaotic fluctuations, patterns will begin to manifest. Not only do these patterns occur, but they tend to persist, until sometimes they can come to dominate the entire system. This is the arc of Korii at work, seeding endless complex patterns into reality, and driving it to evolve over time. Korii takes the random white noise of blind creation and from it creates music. It weaves structure into the flow of information, taking something simple and adding to it, making it grow and develop over time into a true pattern. Many of these patterns are inefficient and eventually collapse into the background, but some patterns survive and excel, grow and evolve. Korii drives this process at every level of creation. Korii is the great builder of reality, for all of creation is nothing more than a complexity of patterns overlaying and interacting with each other. We see these same patterns repeated time and again, in all we look at, up through the fractal layers of the cosmos. Our minds have evolved to recognize these patterns instinctively because we are ourselves a part of this vast machinery. The repeating patterns that Korii weaves into reality are the foundation of all matter. Different patterns possess different properties, and as these patterns gather and repeat, they form objects which also carry some of those properties. This process can in turn repeat over and over, the objects growing and gaining ever more properties along the way, driven on by the determination of Korii. The world we see about us is nothing more than endless compressions of these patterns, evolved over all of time. Korii works in tessellations and waves, sequences, spheres, spirals, symmetries, meanders, and branching fractals. It allows structure and content, it regulates growth, and guides progression. Korii is the arc of limitless detail, an endless succession of patterns within patterns, the tremendous complexity of reality. Mensu. Mensu is the breath of consciousness, the arc of the mind. Mensu connects all sentient constructs within creation. It is the almighty mind of reality, split into an infinity of subjective perspectives. To be able to think is to utilize Mensu, for although there may be an infinity of conscious entities throughout existence, they are all facets of a single cosmic process. Mensu is all minds, all that were and all that will be. It transcends concepts such as space and time and exists across all of infinity and all of reality. It embodies all aspects of thought, emotion, and imagination. Mensu is the great creator, the drawing board upon which reality is designed. Within the mind of Mensu, new ideas and constructs are conceptualized, conjured into existence and given form by the power of imagination. These creations go on to take their place somewhere within the complex of reality. All of creation is fueled by imagination. All constructs begin their lives as an idea. Our minds can predict, we can imagine possible outcomes. The conviction of these beliefs has the power to affect reality. The concept of the future is something that we all believe in, but it exists only within the predictive landscapes of our imagination. Our collective belief in the future fuels its existence. We all expect the future to happen, and so it does. This is just one example of the power of Mensu. It is a cosmic tool, used to sculpt pure thought into solid reality. This is the purpose of consciousness: to dream, to imagine, and to create. It is through this process that reality is its own architect. It is the imagination of itself. Each of us is a god, churning out new worlds with each passing thought, and yet, we are all nothing but the stray musings of other beings, somewhere else in the tangled web of existence. Mensu is the snake that devours its own tail. It is an eternal, ethereal thread connecting reality with imagination. It is the profound truth of our existence, a truth that humbles us and elevates us in equal measures. Sumas. Sumas, the endless void, the arc of detachment. In its simplest sense, Sumas is the space that forms between concentrations of magic. This is quite the statement, considering that magic is literally everything, but Sumas is equally infinite, and so it can handle the workload. Sumas is the arc that stops everything happening at once. It forms an impenetrable barrier between possibilities, walling off potentials and isolating consequences. It stands between all things, there and yet not, an ethereal barrier, impossibly thin and yet infinitely endless and strong. It stands between each expression of the multiverse, and it holds apart each great layer of the metaverse. Flip a coin. Which way will the coin land? Infinity would tell you that the coin would land heads up. Infinity would also tell you that the coin will land heads down, and infinity would tell you the coin will land on its side. Infinity would tell you that the coin will travel upwards, accelerating continually and never come back down, or that it will come back down, but the coin will pass straight through your hand, passing through the whole planet and out the other side at the speed of light. Infinity would tell you that the flipped coin will suddenly, and with a satisfying pop, turn into an angry god, and that the angry god would then devour you and destroy existence in a fit of rage. All things are possible when dealing with infinity, but we see only one of these outcomes when we observe the coin being flipped. Now consider that you, the coin, and the flip are all just a complicated assortment of interacting patterns. The outcome of the flip is nothing more than different potential arrangements of these patterns. The truth of reality is that all these patterns occur. Infinity demands it. Every possibility comes to fruition, but they lose the ability to communicate with each other in a process we call decoherence. Sumas not only mediates this process, but it then acts as a barrier preventing further communication. Conflicting patterns quickly diverge, and progress isolated from each other, universes subdivide, existences split apart. Sumas is the cosmic sentry, the antithesis of Arykos. It is the empty void that lies between all things, holding worlds apart and preventing realities from crashing together. Even though we cannot really experience Sumas in any meaningful sense, it is involved in our every action and plays a part in every outcome. These 7 forces govern our realm and every other upon this great layer of reality, but in each world the forces are balanced differently. This is truly where one's magic journey begins, for to manipulate the arcs, one must first understand them and their behaviors. As we will see in time, these arcs are the foundations that almost everything else in this layer is built upon, from types of spellcasting and branches of humanity, to the formation of entire worlds, religions, and even gods. For now, I believe this episode has ran on for long enough, considering it is only our second one of the series. I hope you're getting the feeling of what is to come in future. In our next episode we are going to get really technical about magic, discussing the ins and outs of spellcasting, affinity, focus, decay, upkeep, and lots of other stuff. As boring as that might sound, I strongly feel it is necessary in creating a rigorous magic system that can't be completely cheated by, say, a main character. Anyway, for now, thank you for tagging along. And stay creative.